Hi, I'm James and I currently live near Dallas, Texas. One thing that I love to do is to jog around whatever city I'm in a few times a week. This is a running route that I did in Memphis, Tennessee in 2020, and I want to focus on this intersection where the arrow is. 38 meters, and as far as I remember, the light gave a pedestrian 8 seconds to get across. The city of Memphis said that this meets their code as set by their engineers. My friends from Baltimore can certainly get across in 8 seconds, no problem, but for everyone else you get maps like this one. No surprise that this intersection had a red dot in 2020, a fatality. But it's another name on that list that jumps out to me most. A few years earlier, my wedding was in Memphis and Steve officiated the ceremony. He unfortunately died from his injuries. May he rest in peace. And of course the word accident was used, and I wonder if that might be the wrong word to use. I have a serious sleeping condition called narcolepsy, and while I may have the opportunity not to have to drive, many in the US live in cities with no choice but to drive. 90% of those who drive with narcolepsy will cause a car accident due to falling asleep at the wheel. Luckily, it's a rare condition. But designing a city where 90% of any group are likely to crash and then providing no alternative for that group to get around, that's crazy. People with narcolepsy won't make any attempt to brake as they are in a deep sleep. Drunk drivers perform slightly better as at least they attempt to brake even if a little too late, but sometimes that helps. The deaths on those days include the passengers in the rear seat of whatever car is in front of that sleeping driver. And when all of this happens on such a regular schedule, again and again and again, should we still be calling these accidents? Or should we admit that these are the expected outcomes of how this city is designed? Journalist and author Jessie Singer does a deep dive on this topic in her book, There Are No Accidents. In Europe, most people who run cities and work in government have degrees in economics, philosophy, and history. But in the United States, most have law degrees that offer zero training in the design of cities, and for the most part, those making the decisions are clueless on the topic. So my project is for them, the highly educated lawyers, who are highly uneducated on how cities work. My model begins with traffic lights and pedestrian crossings at 30% of total intersections. This can be increased or decreased, affecting the number of deaths that this city will produce, shown on the right-hand side. It will also affect the speed of cars, of which in Texas is often higher priority than safety, at least at the state level. Zooming out, we find a quote by Jessie Singer that sums up what my project is about. Accidents are supposed to be random and unpredictable events, but when I looked into the numbers, there's nothing random. The cause of death is a matter of policy and infrastructure. Parking minimums are probably the largest influence on the design of the American city, and the most likely to change in the coming years. Therefore, they are the focus of this project, which you can learn a lot about on this page. Play around with all the sliders to see how they affect the amount of deaths from the parameters you select. I did not use any plugins in my attempt to keep loading speed as fast as possible, and I used MetaHopper's bottleneck navigator to highlight components that were slowing down the model. Rebuilding it reduced load time using local Rhino compute from 2 seconds to 1.2 seconds. To further increase the speed, I'm guessing that using instances for my various meshes, such as the traffic lights, might provide an opportunity to get this model under 1 second load time. Thank you and stay safe.